Hello and welcome to data validation. So when we talk of validation, we are checking to see if the data we are typing in is valid according to the field where we are typing it in. Say for example, if we ask somebody to type in their date of birth and the year today is 2020, you don't expect somebody to type in a date of birth like 1st of December and then they put 1890. That won't make sense because there is no person who was born in 1890 who is still alive today. And also you don't expect a 5-digit year on the date. So the validation will help you to check whether the input is valid. So when we are dealing with fields like department, branch and job title, we can create a validation by providing a list of departments so that the user is restricted only to that list. So this is why we need this parameters worksheet. So far we have been working in the employee data worksheet. So now I want us to go to the parameters worksheet, and so you just click on the parameters worksheet and let's expand columns ABC the way I showed you. Just highlight all the 3 columns on top here and then you just drag one of them. So on the first one we are going to put departments. So I put the heading departments, and then this on B I say branches, and then C job titles. So these headings I'm just putting them in so that we know what we are having down here. But when we do the validation, we are simply going to be checking against data which starts from row number 2. We will not be checking against the heading. This is just for our own purposes. So on the departments, let's put administration, let's put HR, let's put finance, and then let us put, say, technical. So we are going to use these 4 departments: administration, HR, finance, technical. And then on the branches, let's put head office, then we put Rundu, then we put Ngwerume, and then probably we can put Katima. Right, so I'm just putting a few so that we do not have too many records to create. Job titles, let's put secretary, lecturer, accountant, HR officer, CEO. So in real life, you'd put all the job titles within the organization, and you also put all the branches and all the departments. So now we have got the lists that we want to validate the data against. So we go back to our employee data. So we can highlight all the fields that we want to validate. After highlighting the fields, we are validating data. So we need to go to the data menu, right? So you need to keep that in mind. We are validating data, So we need to go to the data menu. So you click on data and then you look for data validation. Right. So you click on data validation, and on that list you also click data validation. Right. So it's on the data menu, then data validation. So there are 3 pages on the data validation. The first one is the settings, where we put the condition for the validation. So by default, the field allows any data to be typed in. So in other words, by default, there is no validation. But if you click the drop down, you can see that there are a number of options. The first one says any value, meaning that these fields can allow you to type in anything. Then the next one says whole number, meaning that you are now restricting this field to only take a whole number. It won't take letters, it won't take fractions, etc. The next one says decimals. Then you've got a list, date, time, text length. So the text length helps you to restrict the length of the text that must come in. Say for example, we were typing in a year, then we know that the year must be 4 characters long. So we put a validation on the text length and say whatever is typed in must have a length of 4. Then there is a custom where you can combine any number of these validations. But the one that we want is to validate against a list. So we select here where it says list, right? So you click on list. Then it gives us the source. So this button here allows you to go to the parameters and highlight the list that you want to validate against. So this is where you need to be very careful not to click any part of the worksheet which is not the list that you want, because otherwise you're going to mess up this validation screen. So we click on this build button, then we go straight to parameters. You click on parameters, and then we highlight from number 2 just on the names of the departments, and then we press enter. Right, so just highlight the names, leave out the title on the first row. So you can see here that it types in equal to parameters, the name of the worksheet, exclamation $A, $2 up to $A, $5. So meaning that if you actually know the address where that list is, you could have simply typed it in yourself, because we know it's in A2 to A5. So we have now specified where to find the list. Now we go to the next page, which says input message. So input message is a message that is going to be displayed, which the user can see when the cursor goes on that particular field. So I'm going to put the title as department of that message, and then the input message I'll say select the employees department. So it's a message that helps the user to enter correct information or to know what they are expected to enter. So title department, input message, select the employees department. Then error alert. This is to say if a person tries to enter something which is not on the list, what do we want to happen? Either we can just give him a warning, or we can block him from continuing. So this stop function, it blocks the person from continuing. But if you just put warning or information, it will just tell him that what he typed is not in the list, but it will not stop him from proceeding right? It will still take what he has typed, but for us we want to force him to take what is on the list, so we put a stop. And then the title, I will say invalid entry, right? That is the title I want on the error. And then the error message, I will say only select from the list, right? So this is to help the user to know that what they have selected is not part of the list. So I've now finished. I started with the setting where I said it's a list, and then I gave it the list. Then I gave it the message which must be displayed when the cursor goes on the field, and then I gave it the error message which must be shown if the person selects anything which is not on the list. And we said the style is a stop sign, meaning you cannot proceed until you select a valid entry from the list. So now I can say OK. So now when I put my cursor on any one of these fields, you can see that the input message, right, now says enter the employees department. So I think the reason why it is cut there is because of the size of my my field. It is encroaching into the message because I have zoomed in to make it 200. So you can see that the message now is looking complete, but in normal circumstances you are not working at zoom 200, so the message will always appear correctly. So that is the message. Department is the title. Select the employees department. Then when you click on the arrow, it now shows you these departments which are on the parameters worksheet. So you can now pick any department. But if you tried to let me resize back again. If I put in admin, then it now gives me that error with the title invalid entry, only select from the list. Then you can either say cancel or retry. So let's say retry, and then I have to press escape to cancel the admin that I put in. So the escape key is for cancelling always. So I can now select the department I want. So the next one, I'll make it HR. Next one, finance, etc. So we can do the same with the branch and title. So I'm going to do the branch with you again, but then the job title, I want you to do it on your own. So you come and you highlight the cells, you go to data, you go to data validation, select data validation, then we start on the settings, and we say we want to validate against a list. Then on the source, we click the build button, then we go to the parameters, and we select the branch. So all the fields under branches, and we press enter. Then the input message, we just use a standard format where the title is the name of the field branch. Then we say select the employees branch, and then we go to the error, it's a stop. Then the title, we say invalid entry. It doesn't have to be invalid entry, that is what makes sense to me. And then error message, only select from the list, right? So settings, allow a list, and then the parameters, you click here, then you go to the parameters and you highlight the list of branches. Then you go to the input message, you give it a title, then put in what you want the user to see when they are typing in this field. Then you go to the error. If the person types in something which is invalid, what message do you want to appear? And then you say OK. So now you can see now that we've got the branch. So now I can say all these people here, I'll put them in head office. So you can see why I was saying we are going to end up with hundreds of people, because in each department we are going to put a few people per branch. Then we go to the next branch, we put a few people per department until we finish all our branches. So that's going to be quite a number of people. So I would like you to do the job title on your own, the validation for the job title on your own, and then let's meet in the next session where we continue with data sorting and data filtering.